Performance exercise number 7 is called Modal Jazz. And in this series of Stu Hamm, TrueFire Jazz Essentials, I'm also trying to give you sort of a brief overview of the history of jazz and how it went from sort of big band, 2-beat swing music to the complications of bebop as people like Miles Davis and Charlie Parker and Thelonious Monk and Dizzy Gillespie sort of took the form to its most technical and virtuosic high end. You often hear about Miles Davis and what an innovator he was, about how many times he changed the face of jazz music. And one of the things he did was sort of pioneer a type of jazz called modal jazz. Because after you've reached the heights of bebop and guys playing rhythm changes at 220 beats per minute and the most complicated, difficult thing you can go, well, like, where can you go from there? So Miles and his compatriots came up with this thing called modal jazz, which is, of course, a reaction to that, which is playing a really slow series. Instead of a whole bunch of changes, like in rhythm changes, we were changing chords every 2 beats. Well, here in modal jazz, songs like So What, Impressions, man, you're playing D minor for 16 bars. And then then you're playing E flat minor for 8 bars, and then you're back to D minor for 8 bars. And again, it's a reaction to all the intensity and quickness and fast notes going on in bebop to this modal jazz where we're just kind of kicking back, we're relaxing, and there's a lot more room to express yourself. So it's a simple walking bass line here. It's really grooving, swinging, man. You got to be back in the pocket. You're basically going up and down the changes. Here, I've played it really straight, actually 0 chromatic approach notes. Every note I'm playing is within the scale. And I'm trying to use just one hand position. And one of the tricky things about this particular song, which is, again, the chord changes are a template used in songs like Impressions, So What. The form is A-A-B-A, which means that we play D minor for 8 bars, D minor for another 8 bars, E flat minor for 8 bars, and then go back and play D minor again for 8 bars. And then we're at the top. So it might seem like at the end you're playing D minor for 12 bars in a row, or 24 bars in a row, but you're not. You got to think of it form-wise. A lot of people will skip repeat the second 8 bars of the D minor when they get to the top. So remember that the D minor starts and ends it. So just follow along the chart, the form, and let me show you this real basic fingering of outlining the chords and being nice and cool and playing some modal jazz.